Imagine this. A pretty normal day, seems like it anyway, at a Love Hotel in Sapporo, Japan. It's July 2nd, 2023. But then, noon passes. A hotel employee starts getting a bit concerned. A guest, Mr. Aritoshi, hasn't checked out. And that's small detail. It's about to lead to something truly horrific. Something that employee will probably never forget. So today we're doing a deep dive into what's known as the Hokkaido murder case. It's recent, deeply unsettling, and honestly, it's captured attention worldwide. We want to tell you the story, not just the bare facts, but what happened, the investigation, the secrets that came out, personal ones, societal ones too. Our sources today, they include a pretty detailed rundown from a YouTube channel, plus various public records about the legal side and the ongoing talk around this case. Our goal really is to pull out the key insights, give you a clear picture of this complex story without you having to wade through everything yourself. Okay, so setting the scene. Sapporo, Hokkaido. You might not know this, but Sapporo actually has a really low crime rate, like 4.5%.
Yeah, compare that to somewhere like New York, which is, around 46%? Big difference.
Exactly. Japan has strict gun laws, good security systems. It's just not the place you'd expect this kind of, horror.
Makes the contrast even sharper.
So back to July 2nd. The employee's concern grows. Mr. Hitoshi isn't answering calls, not responding to knocks. It's 2 p.m.
Right, well past checkout time.
So the employee uses a master key, opens the door, and what they find is just unspeakable.
Yeah.
The naked body of a man in the bathtub, covered in blood, and headless.
Headless. That's the detail that immediately flags this as something extraordinary, something sinister.
They call the police right away, obviously.
Yeah.
But that missing head, it's gone. The killer took it.
And that missing head, it immediately presents a huge problem for the police. How do you identify the victim? He was later confirmed to be Mr. Hitoshi, 62 years old, an office worker, married, had grown kids. People described him as sociable, liked going to clubs. But at that moment, in that room, total mystery.
Because of the location, right? The Love Hotel.
Exactly. You have to understand what love hotels are in Japan. They're built for discretion. Affordable, usually no ID check if you look over 18. The rooms are often themed. Sometimes they offer cosplay outfits. And this one was in Susukino, Sapporo's entertainment district.
So no ID, no personal belongings left behind.
Precisely. The police had almost nothing initially. They estimated his height, maybe 160, 170 centimeters, and guessed his age around 45 from a smallpox vaccine scar. That's it.
Wow. So the privacy aspect really worked against the investigation at first. Definitely complicated things. Okay, so let's track Hitoshi's last known movements. This is July 1st, the day before the discovery. He leaves the disco around 9 p.m. Then about an hour and a half later, 10:30 p.m., CCTV catches him meeting a woman near the Love Hotel.
And this woman, the description is quite specific.
Yeah, cream-colored top, black, wide-brimmed hat. And she's carrying 2 suitcases, one large, one small. What's really interesting, though, is when she leaves the hotel. About 3 hours later, she's changed into all black clothes, and she leaves alone. Hitoshi stays behind.
So the CCTV confirms she went in with him, but came out by herself.
And that hat did its job, obscured her face. Plus, no fingerprints left at the scene.
Suggests planning, right? Careful planning.
Absolutely. The identification breakthrough doesn't happen until 2 days later. Hitoshi's wife reports him missing.
Ah, okay. That allows forensics to connect the dots.
Yes, but then comes the autopsy. And this is where it gets, even stranger.
What did they find?
Hitoshi didn't die from the decapitation. He died from hemorrhagic shock, basically. Massive blood loss from multiple stab wounds.
Stab wounds first.
The decapitation, the medical examiner concluded, likely happened after he was already dead.
And not with a knife.
With an electric saw. The theory being, it was done specifically to hide his identity. Chilling stuff.
That autopsy result, it changes everything. The cause of death, the method. It points away from a simple, impulsive act. And police notice Hitoshi and the woman, they met before the hotel, so they probably knew each other.
Right, not a random encounter.
So they start digging into Hitoshi's recent life, his relationships, and they find something crucial. There was a court order. Hitoshi was prohibited from approaching a woman named Runa Tamura. She's 29.
Why?
She'd filed a lawsuit against him, sexual harassment, possibly assault.
Okay, so the immediate question becomes, is this revenge?
That's exactly where the investigation heads. Focus shifts to Runa Tamura. On July 24th, police go to her home. She lives with her parents, Osamu Tamura, her father, he's 59, a senior psychiatrist, and her mother, Haruko, who's 60.
And the family, how do they react?
They refuse to talk about Hitoshi's death. Very suspicious behavior.
So the police search the house.
They do, and they find it. A suitcase hidden in a second-floor bathroom looks just like the one from the hotel CCTV.
Don't tell me.
Inside, Hitoshi's head
Oh my God.
leads to immediate arrests. Runa and her father, Osamu, for murder and concealing the body. Hiroko, the mother, is arrested the next day for her involvement.
Finding the head, arresting the whole family. I mean, that must have just stunned everyone.
Absolutely. And then other evidence starts trickling out.
Like what?
A witness comes forward, saw Osamu, the father, the psychiatrist, buying an electric saw with Runa just days before the murder.
Wow. Okay, that points heavily towards premeditation, involving him at least. So the police need a motive. They start looking into Runa's background. What do they find?
Neighbors paint a picture of someone deeply troubled, severe mental health issues apparently, very withdrawn, struggled socially. There's even a story from her school days about her carrying a cutter knife. Apparently she was bullied, and one time she confronted a boy who mocked her, allegedly with the knife, telling him to shut up or get hurt.
So a history of maybe struggling to cope with stress, social pressure.
Seems like it. But
Okay.
the father, Osamu, that's the confusing part for many. Neighbors described him as kind, gentle, hard to square that with this horrific crime.
Right, the respected psychiatrist involved in a decapitation. But then the mother, Hiroko, she talks to the police. And her story, it just flips the narrative.
What did she say?
It's explosive. She claims Hitoshi raped Runa.
Raped?
Yes. She alleges Hitoshi went by the name Tomakang, sometimes cross-dressed, and targeted young, withdrawn women in clubs, befriended them, lured them, assaulted them, and she says Runa was one of his victims.
Did they report it?
Hiroko claims they did. Reported Hitoshi to the police, but nothing happened. No progress, no help. That's her account.
So a complete failure by the system if her story is true.
That's what she implies. And it gets worse. She says even with the court order against him, Hitoshi kept stalking Runa,
Stalking her after a court order.
allegedly threatening her with a video of the assault, extorting money from the family. She claims they paid him repeatedly.
This is incredibly dark.
Hiroko finishes by saying Runa endured more than enough. It sounds like she's justifying the murder.
Is there any corroboration for this?
Well, police did find some people at the clubs who confirmed Hitoshi, maybe as Tomakang, did frequent clubs, and seemed to prefer younger women. The cross-dressing part wasn't really confirmed by them, though.
And Runa and Osamu, did they confess or give statements?
At the time our sources were compiled, their official statements were still confidential. So Hiroko's testimony is the main window we have into their alleged motive.
Okay, so if we step back and look at Hiroko's claims, it opens up a lot of theories, doesn't it? Especially about the parents' roles. Osamu, the father, remember he used to be a medical doctor?
Before becoming a psychiatrist, yeah. Because of a fear of blood, interestingly.
Right. So one theory is maybe he planned the dismemberment using his medical knowledge because it was intricate. While Runa, who supposedly dislikes blood, might have done the stabbing.
And they found all those knives at the house too, right?
Yeah, over 20 non-kitchen knives, which just adds another layer of weirdness. Was it preparation, some kind of obsession? Hard to say.
And the head. Keeping the head in the bathroom. What's the thinking there?
The speculation is pretty grim. Could it have been a kind of trophy?
A trophy.
A symbol that she'd finally overcome her tormentor. It sounds bizarre, but if you consider the reports of her severe mental health issues and the extreme trauma alleged by her mother, maybe it served as some kind of validation for her. A really disturbing one.
That's deeply unsettling to even consider.
And you really have to place this case, unfortunately, within the context of the hashtag #MeToo movement in Japan.
How so?
Think about Sherry Ito's case back in 2015, the journalist who was drugged and raped.
Right, she couldn't get criminal charges filed, but she won a civil suit eventually.
Exactly. And she spoke about her experience with the police being asked to reenact the assault with a doll, being questioned about why she could walk normally afterwards. It highlights these systemic issues, sometimes victim blaming, that make it incredibly hard for survivors to get justice through official channels in Japan.
So you're drawing a parallel. If Runa's family story is true, maybe she felt the system failed her too.
It's a possibility. That feeling of being failed by the very systems meant to protect you. Could it push someone, especially someone potentially vulnerable or mentally unwell, towards seeking their own extreme form of justice? It's a stark contrast to Shiori Ito, who fought relentlessly within the legal system despite the immense difficulties.
So where does the case stand now? Or at least when our sources were current?
Okay, as of September 2023, The legal process was definitely ongoing. The family had tried an appeal, but it was rejected.
Which suggests the initial case against them is pretty strong.
Seems that way. And all three, Runa, Osamu, and Hiroko, were ordered to undergo mandatory psychological evaluations.
For how long?
Started late August 2023, scheduled to end late February 2024. So, quite extensive.
And those results will be crucial for sentencing, I imagine.
Absolutely. They'll heavily influence whatever penalties they might face.
It just leaves you with so many unanswered questions, doesn't it? Like, what was the exact level of involvement from each parent? What truly pushed them to this level of violence? And what will the final legal outcome be?
Big questions for me.
It's a case that really forces you to think about justice, about vengeance, and well, what happens when the system's designed to help maybe don't, or are perceived not to. What really stands out to you when you think about how unaddressed trauma might manifest in such just horrific ways? It's something to really mull over. Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the Hokkaido murder case.
It's a tough one for sure. We hope this discussion gave you a clearer picture of the details, the people involved, and some of the bigger societal questions it raises. It's complex, unsettling, no doubt about it. We look forward to exploring more fascinating stories and insights with you next time. Goodbye for now.